All right, welcome to the Empowered Women's Circle. We're here. We finished our opening meditation and we're reminded to record, so welcome. December 4th, winter solstice. All right, thank you, that's wonderful. This is the slide that reminds you if you have healthcare issues, make sure you either talk to me about them so that I can guide you, or you talk to your provider, or you talk to Maria. We have, within this container, we operate inside some shared commitments that just kind of creates some safety for us. And here's Anna.
After the meditation.
Yay. So within our container in the Empowered Women's Circle, essentially it was what you heard in the meditation. We're here for our own journey. We're here for our own empowerment. And a lot of times in women's groups, we come as our sort of worst, weakest self because we're looking for commiseration. And in this circle, the intention is to be powerful and to be, not that we're perfect. We're absolutely, absolutely not perfect, never are. But we come from a place of wanting to look for solutions, to lift each other, to make the assumption, and this is key, to make the assumption that each of us already knows and has within us that biggest version of ourselves, so that we don't need to provide advice. We don't need to say, oh, that's awful. We can just...
I'm disturbing everything.
Hi! Welcome.
I want to like
We're
your part.
We're glad you came. We're glad you're here.
Thank you. So
just lean in, because we've already connected with our virtual people, and your sister's here.
Hi, Mary. I'm late. I said, don't be late.
Hold on, I'm gonna stop sharing for a sec so Anna can say hello. Hey.
Hi.
So
Hi,
Anna, we just shared, and I'm sorry you missed it and it wasn't recorded, but what we eat for Christmas morning breakfast, and we had a real laugh about it. So what do you eat for Christmas morning breakfast?
That's a good one. We make cinnamon rolls.
Like sticky buns?
Yes, my daughter makes those, and we just make a big breakfast with eggs and just the whole thing, because gives us
so
stuff.
Many people to feed.
Yeah, we're just hanging out at the table for a long time.
Anna has 6 children.
Six.
So she's lucky to be here. This is the quietest time.
I love coming with her.
Wanda's biggest thing she likes about the Empowered Women's Circle from Brantford, Wanda, was to get out of the house. So you can really
second that one.
Awesome. So, and Anna is Bernice's sister. I think we lost Bernice, though.
She looks like you.
Yeah.
She does?
She does. I thought that was you on the screen.
We used to play all kinds of tricks when we were young.
All right, we'll go back to sharing our slides.
Thank you, and apologies.
No worries.
You're
Glad to have
Yeah, come down. Cool.
So again, just a reminder in our circle that we operate inside this safe container where we take ourselves and our empowerment first. We're responsible for our own process, for figuring things out with guidance and with support, obviously. We celebrate, mirror, and amplify other women, because one of the things, actually, I've shared this before, but I find this really powerful. One of the things that happened in the White House with previous administrations is when they started to notice that women were not heard around the boardroom table, they would, a woman would say something, and instead of allowing it to just kind of get shuffled down like our Facebook feeds do, they would amplify it, and they would say, you know, Tracy Jones just said it would be a great idea for us to do a garden at the White House. And they say, and then if it kind of gets shuffled down, another woman would step up and say, you know, she said, and they'd always give credit to the woman who said it, but they would say it again so that it would continue to be elevated. And that's what it is to mirror and amplify other women. And we know that when we do that it gives us not just a sense of collaboration, but it allows us to see our own brilliance and our own genius in ways that we wouldn't otherwise have acknowledged that. And I'm thinking it's warm, right? Is it just me? Hot flash?
No,
I'm going to fix the temperature.
She's rushing. She's having all Really?
I know.
That's 6 months. It's getting there. It's the most challenging thing I've ever done. But it's
the fire, but I hope the chimney.
Can you move to?
Oh no. Okay.
Oh yes, I did.
It's okay. Okay, so here we go. And we are an all-inclusive group that accepts and loves anyone who shows up fully in their power. So here we go. I forgot to hand out the journals on the way in, so I'm going to do that now. If you have your own journal, I think I have enough for everybody, but I haven't done a complete count. But if you have your own journal, maybe we'll hold back until. So make sure you have something to write in.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And for Stacy and for anybody at home, now is a good moment to get yourself something to write on. Very cute.
I don't have anything to write on.
She just has bacon. Can you have bacon?
My mom.
It's hilarious.
Thank you.
Cute.
You need one, don't you? I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
So I want you to take a moment, everybody, to take your journal, and you're going to need, to really you're going to need several pages here. So, there is more too if you want to use one.
They were saying it's so pretty. This one doesn't work.
All right. So we're going to ask ourselves to reflect on, and to reflect from that place that you felt in the meditation, from kind of inside your body where you feel grounded and you feel not just kind of up in your head and all the chaos of your day, but really here and present in our space. And I want you to ask yourself, what did you create? So what did I create or invest in? My time, energy, and resources in the last year that is most aligned with my destiny. In other words, what did I invest in? So I'm not looking at like, I bought a new boat, or I know I say that funny because I'm Canadian, but I'm not looking at like, I bought this or I bought that, but what did you invest in? What did you contribute to? What did you make a priority for yourself in the last year? And I'd like you to come up with 3 highlights from the last year, and just free flow. And you'll find that if you just kind of breathe into it and you kind of ignore that everyone else is here, now the cool air is coming, so we'll have more breathing room. Just allow yourself to look back all the way through 2019 and think, what did I really spend my time, energy, effort, resources on that was meaningful to me? And you can take your time with that. Oh, I forgot my mom. Maria, what's your favorite calm song? Anybody have a favorite calm song that I can play?
Yeah. Like the canon and D and like.
I can play Canon and D. Hey Siri, play Canon and D.
She doesn't do what I say.
Hey Siri, volume 30%. So we find people chatting. So you guys, everybody close? Okay. So a lot of it's private. I don't expect to share. I don't expect anyone to say anything at all, but I would love to know if anybody has something they really want to celebrate that they feel was very meaningful for them in the past year.
I can share something.
Yeah, please.
I'm only 46, but I have 3 adult kids.
Hey Siri, stop. Okay, you're
I
right.
say I'm only 46, but I have 3 adult kids. For me, understanding that they're adults is hard. Just that I'm just not anymore. I'm just a good influence to them. I'm not a role model anymore. Now I understand they're their own person, and I just try to be there. So that was a really good achievement this year for me.
So you made an intentional, conscious effort.
Yes. And no anymore. They look at me and they say, "Mom, you're such a good role model." I say, I am. But until this point, I'm just proud of the role that you become. Show me your way right now. They're 28, 26, and 19. And I can look at them and say, I did a good job, but it's not about me anymore. It's about them. So I want them to guide me that way that they want to go right now. That's beautiful.
Okay, so you're gonna make us cry.
It's okay. Tissues. I wanted to share because I'm proud of myself. It was very hard to say, oh, they're not mine anymore. You know, they were never mine, but
That's awesome.
yes.
Laura and I were just having this conversation about parenting at different stages, and that is an inspiration to me to hear that. Yeah, it's shifting right now. Like I'm in the middle of that.
Yep.
This and this,
And it will stay like that for a long time.
Yours are 18 and 13, right? Yeah.
Yep, that's all I wrote in here.
Kids.
It's all about them.
So what was powerful and meaningful?
Oh, they both perform. They're musicians, and I just help them like get their careers kind of going and stuff, and getting them gigs and promoting them and stuff. And then I was everything, social media pages and school and things, anything that are involved in. I'm just always there.
I love it. So when you look back, because I love to do this, you look back at the beginning of 2019 versus now, where you are in terms of developing that business for them, that structure and their gigs and supporting their getting out there. It's a big leap.
Oh, it's huge, yeah. It's huge. They're actually doing very well. They're doing actual gigs at places where they play 4-hour sets now. So they're doing
Wow, that's cool.
What do they play?
one plays the guitar and the other one sings. They're brother duo.
That is so
Oh,
cool.
that's cool. Should book them for something.
Right?
That's amazing.
Their name's the Cheney Brothers.
What was it?
The Cheney Brothers. And promoting them there on Facebook, so y'all know that.
I'll have to look at
Yeah, the Cheney brothers.
The
That's
Cheney
awesome.
Brothers.
That's awesome. Magdalia, is your voice okay to? Magdalia's not feeling well, but she did share in the chat. So if you're willing to share here, that would be great. If not, we'll just wait for the pregnant pause and move on.
Sure, I'll share.
Thank you.
Like what I wrote in the chat was just really taking the year, trying to make steps towards accepting love and support. So I'm trying to rewire my brain to believe that I don't have to go at it alone. Like from Stacy's book, we're not superwoman, right? We can't do everything by ourselves. So that's something that's always been difficult for me. And I thought that I was in a place where I was accepting love and support from, I have so many great friends and I have so much family, but I think I was very much closed off in a way and I didn't really realize that. So just learning to accept love and support from the people around me. And, that includes, being more open and honest with my friends, with my family, and my dating and all that fun stuff. So it's still a work in progress, but, it's been a conscious effort over the years for sure.
Beautiful. I love it. Celebrate that. Anybody else?
Sure. I grow like probably all of you. What we did, do a lot of things for other people. But I spent a lot of time caring for my family, especially for my husband. He was sick literally exactly a year ago, a week from now. We started with a chain of a lot of activities, and it was. I look back and I almost don't know what happened. It was just so many things that hit our family in many different ways. But one thing that I'm very grateful for, is your support, Catherine, and your circle really learning to be accepting of your own needs, letting go of a lot of the things that I used to do for everything, like academics and things that were important, and suddenly they were not important. We have to take care of other things. So I am very happy. I look at it now, and we just have to be in a different place, realizing that your life sometimes it changes, it is realigned, and probably, and not probably, believing in God is for the best in the long run, although you don't see it. So it's a beautiful knowing that there are a lot of people and a lot of ways that we can help each other throughout different journeys. So thank you.
Yeah, similar to what Magdalia said too, in that we really need each other, and learning to accept that support is like a struggle for some of us, for most of us, right? I think that's a female thing a lot of times. What was it? Did you start? Was it you that had something?
Oh, I was going to talk because
Yeah.
no one was going to talk about that. I mean, they're engaged. I was going to break the ice.
I planted
not
for
shy.
you to engage as necessary. Malin, Rose, Stacy, Wanda, anybody else? I just want to make sure everyone's had an opportunity before we move on.
In regards to things that I've done is just supporting my vision of helping people. And so the first thing was to invest in getting my book published. So that was a financial commitment and time commitment and getting that all done. But then taking that to the next level and connecting and networking with people of key powers of influence to be able to help me share it on a greater reach. So that's what I've been able to do over the past year. And another thing that I really am thankful for is being able to share time with family at holiday time where we're just away in Florida, and having that one-on-one time with our kids. It is important to get out of the daily routine because you're in that grind. But when you take time away in a new new circumstance or new situation or new environment, and you're together 24/7, stuff really opens up, and that's always a treasure.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. I have that on my list too, because in 2019, I made an effort to be one-on-one with each of my kids. I mean, I used to date them, but this was like a weekend away. So I took each of them a weekend away. And I'll tell you the reason I wasn't, and everyone that has kids probably understands, was because I thought if I take one, the other two are going to be jealous. And so it was this big thing about, I just didn't do it. And I thought, I'm missing out. So I took Devin to the Harry Potter park. I took Ashley to Animal Kingdom. These were separate weekends. And then I took Caitlin to Charleston, South Carolina. So nice, right?
Nice.
I think she maybe feels like she got ripped off.
She's got a lot of history.
But these are the things you can't necessarily, like, nothing can be equal, but those were, special times. So Stacy, thanks for reminding me of that. That was powerful time with my family. All right. I think, Bernice, you're on video. Did you have something to share, something powerful or meaningful from the past year? I won't call on you.
Not really.
Not really? She's saying no. Okay.
He's running away from the camera.
Okay, no worries. It's okay. It's okay. We'll get you on the next one. All right. So we're going to go back to the slides and we're going to unpack this a little bit. So next question is, what specific decisions did you make that nurtured those potentials? Because those are the things that we get forks in the road every single minute of every single day. We have forks in the road. We can make decisions. We go this way, we go in that way. And so the question is, with those things that were most meaningful to you, what decisions did you make? How did you come about those decisions? Go as deep or as shallow as you want, but what decisions did you make, and how did you come about making those decisions that ultimately led to us sitting here, whether you said it out loud or whether you just wrote it, having those meaningful experiences? So it's a little bit convoluted to think about, but when I answered that question, I said to schedule family events in advance was a big decision for me. To release objections, like I said, it's not fair, when's my turn, or my fear that it's too expensive. So releasing those things and just saying to myself, this is it, now or never, do this. So that was a decision that I had to make in order to step into that really meaningful relationship building with my kids, and it's changed our relationships. Another example, I said, with building the Empowered Women Circle, which was one of the things I was celebrating in 2019, was the structures that Dahlia and I have been able to create. I said, my decisions were, when it got hard, I resourced myself. So I took a course, I created a different way of doing it, I executed on some of the ideas that I had brewing for a while, started meeting more regularly with our blossoms. So those kinds of destiny decisions, those things that you did that allowed you to step into and now be looking back and go, okay, I did a lot for my, for the Cherney, is that how I say Cherney brothers? Cherney. I knew there was
like weenie,
weird
you'll never
letter in
forget
it.
it.
I did a lot for the Cheney brothers. What was it that had me step into making those decisions to do those things? And I'm just going to ask Malin and Rose and Bernice, Migdalia, maybe even Stacy to put something in the chat. And I'm watching the chat, and then I'll know that I'm not missing out on hearing from you. Stay as shy or as quiet as you want to, but also really powerful experience to share some of the ways you came about those decisions, some of those big decisions that you made. And in this group in my room, I'll know when you're ready because you'll start to chatter with each other. So I'll move on because I know you're working on that, but you can continue to work on that. Oh, I'm getting some chat, so that's great. Thanks for the chat. So Stacy saying, I took charge of what was important to me, did not feel guilty for putting my goals at the top of my priority list. Hoo-ha. 3 cheers for Stacy.
Yes.
Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray! She'll get that in 5 minutes. Magdalia says, probably writing down what I want. Yeah, the blossom tracker. Anybody that's doing the seedling process has been using the blossom tracker. For me, it's a way of visually looking at what are my goals, what is my next step, what is the vision I'm stepping into, and it's accessible to everybody. Just print it out, write it down. It's there in front of you. Didn't realize how important it was to put my thoughts down on paper, help change thoughts to actions, and learning to say no. She's still learning to say no. Malin says, for the longest time, I stopped listening to my inner voice and I couldn't find it. Yeah, the seedling process allowed me to stop and to hear it. Yeah, Malin, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, and Rose. So I'm going to go away from the chat because I know, Rose, I know you're willing to speak on camera with us, and now we see your gorgeous profile picture. Can you share what you put in the chat with us, Rose?
Sure, yes. And so for the folks in the room there who may not know me, I'm my Destiny project is around helping to leave the world a better place by leaning into advancing circular economy and circularity in our economy. And so you can look at a blog post that EWC graciously provided the platform for to get background on that notion. But in relation to decisions, I took a leap and registered for a zero waste conference that took place in Vancouver, BC, so about 2,500 kilometers away from where I live. And it was to signal mainly to myself that I was serious about leaning into the circular economy. And then when the universe provided for me in that with the registrations covered by third parties, it was a real positive affirmation that I'm in the right place and I'm doing what I need to be doing.
You're trailblazing.
Oh, I don't know about that, but I'm lighting I'm definitely a candle bearer.
Rose is always looking for feedback, and I'm just curious. I started to think circular economy. Does anybody who knows what circular economy means? Put your hand up. So see, this is helpful, right, Rose? Because nobody put their hand up in terms of knowing what circular economy is. So and I know you've said this before, Rose, but we need to find a way to make it relatable and to make it such that people know exactly what it is and how to tap into it. And ultimately, it's a zero waste economy. And it can be in every industry. So Rose has blogged on food industry in terms of how you do zero waste food consumption. And the wealthier people are the people who generally throw away the most food. And the other blog I'm trying to remember was just a general overview of what a circular economy looks like. So I think it's we have a lot of brain share in this room, and we should circle back maybe on the Facebook page where we can really help us to make that something that when people hear it, they get inspired to do it, because that's what we're looking for. Right, Rose?
Absolutely, and there are companies in your community that are very much doing that notion of keeping products and materials in use, that are regenerating natural resources in the action of delivering their business, that are creating a sharing economy so that basically we consume less and we share more.
Love it. Thank you so much for sharing. And Wanda too, thank you for your input on the chat. Wanda says it's learned that it's okay to think of myself and that it's not selfish. Who thinks it's selfish to think of themselves? Oh, come on, we all do, right? No? You've cracked that nut? All right. Carolina says, no, I'm thinking about myself. I'm all good with that.
I don't think it's selfish.
Okay, so here we go. Next step for us. So really drop into this space. Okay, so again, we're not like way in our heads. We're not like, making a blueprint and a task and a to-do list and I'm gonna do this, this, and this, and this and get like exhausted about it. We're really dropping into, I have a whole year ahead. And I just celebrated what was most meaningful to me. I just thought about it, I reflected on it. If I'd not been here tonight, I probably would never have done that. It would just rolled right by. So I reflected on it, I celebrated on it, and I considered at a level that, I may not have taken the time to before, I considered how the decisions that I made helped me to step into those things that ultimately ended up being the things I looked back on the last year. So I looked back on those things and they filtered to the top as this was most meaningful for me in 2019. And I made decisions to make those things meaningful. And I've just kind of taken a 37,000-foot view of those decisions that I made that allowed those things to happen that were very beautiful and experiential and meaningful for my year. So stepping off of that, I want you to set an intention for what you're going to embrace moving forward. So we're not really making plans per se, but we're setting an intention, coming out of, stepping off of, using the momentum and harnessing the power of those beautiful things that we are recollecting from 2019. What is it that I'm going to embrace, that I'm going to cultivate, or even release? That I'm going to make my intention moving into 2020, knowing that at the end of 2020, I'm going to be sitting around with my gal pals, maybe hopefully in a bigger room, right, Anita? We're going for a bigger room. A bigger room, more people, but lots of love. I'm going to be looking back at 2020. What am I going to embrace? What am I going to cultivate? Or what am I going to release that I'm really taking a stand for in this year ahead? Now we're getting back together January 8th, which is the second Wednesday, because January 1st is not a good day for me to host an event. And we'll be doing some very clear clarity, alignment, and visioning of 2020. So that's not what this is. This is saying, you know, knowing what I know about 2019, what am I going to take into the next year to make 2020 just as or more meaningful for me, making those decisions. And I'll keep moving because we are anxious to get to our food. Anybody can stop me if you're not quite ready. Okay, whew, shake that off. Here we go. So there's been a lot of breakdown in the world, and I don't think there's a year that we've been doing this that there hasn't been. And there's been a lot of divisiveness in the world of late. And there's parts of me and maybe parts of you that are somewhat grateful for some of the things in the world that we no longer tolerate, that we're willing to say, no more, I'm done. We're not going to manage it. We're just not going to have that in our world anymore. And if it wasn't for people willing to take that stand, we wouldn't have that divisiveness. We wouldn't have the people who are saying, no, that's not okay. And the people are saying, well, that's always been okay, so let's just keep doing it. So I actually think it's worth celebrating that there's people willing to stand up and say, I'm taking a stand on that. And because of that, it seems like there's a lot of breakdown going on in the world. It seems like there's a lot more chaos than there used to be, a lot more conflict than there used to be, both here where we see it and where we know is in places near and dear to a lot of your hearts, especially Maria. And in Venezuela is what I'm talking about. And here in the US, you know, and even in Canada, we're seeing it even in Canada and probably Cuba and Mexico, right?
Mexico's worse than Cuba.
It feels like there's a lot more of that. And so we know that there's breakdowns happening on a collective level. And sometimes as women, as powerful, strong women, conscious women who have that level of awareness, we think, well, if bad things happen to me, maybe there's something wrong with me. If bad things are coming in my life, maybe I'm bringing it my direction. If this is happening, what did I do to contribute to that? And there is some level of self-responsibility that we have to step into and say, okay, well, I had a part in this. I'm gonna look at what was my responsibility in this. Absolutely, that's important. But bad things happen, and there's challenges, and there's setbacks, and there's loss, and there's grief, and there's illness, and there's war. And so it's really important that we don't brush that away and that we step into, say, a place of saying parts of this, I might be responsible for, or parts of this I need to take responsibility for helping. Carolina's always teaching us that, giving back and making a bigger contribution. But there's parts of this that are just plain crappy. And there's no shame in that. And as women, we'll often shoulder the shame of, if bad stuff's happening to me, there must be something wrong with me. And we'll look at it as our fault, or we'll look at it as we're not doing enough, or we're not good enough, or we're not striving enough, or we're just not enough. And I'd like us to set that aside and have the antidote to that shame is self-compassion. And the only way that I've found to have real deep self-compassion is to imagine what I would say to me if I was sitting beside me. So somehow we as women can have compassion for others. we can stick up for others. We can have love for others. We can forgive others. And we have this way of not being able to love ourselves. And so what I want you to do is not be in a place of shame or blame or I brought this on. I want you to be in a place of you were doing your best. You've always done your best. You're trying your best. You're trying your hardest. You're every bit worthy and enough. And providing yourself that love and self-compassion that you would if it was a best friend sitting beside you saying, this is what happened. So we're not going down in that pit. We're just going to sit with this. You know what? I had challenges in 2019. Things came my way. I might have had a part of it. I might have not, but things came my way. And I know I had challenges and setbacks and loss. And I want you to reflect on this question. What were the 3 most challenging things? And knowing that it's not what happens to us as much as it is how we respond to it. So how can you respond? How can you learn? How can you see potentially a gift or an opportunity and harness the strength? Harness that what you've learned and the opportunity in it to strengthen your resolve. So not only did we have great things to celebrate, but we had setbacks, we had loss, we had things that happened to us. And I want you to reflect on 3 of those in the past year that just coming from that place of love and self-compassion that really set you back. But look at them and consider, what is it I can take from this that I can grind up and I can use as compost to fertilize? This is what Claire Zammit says in Feminine Power. I can take it up, I can grind it up, I can compost, and I can use it to fertilize 2020. What is it that I can take from that? And it's always hard to consider those challenges and setbacks. Thank you, Migdalia, for your lovely chat. Migdalia has answered already. She's answered already. She says, embracing love, cultivating knowledge, and releasing shame. And Bernice says, ditto. I love it. You know what I love? Because I'm such good friends with Maria, and so many of her sayings are in Spanish, and she translates them to English. I love that because they're so vivid and they make so much sense. I'm like, a garlic lollipop. I love that. We don't say that in English, but you get what it means, right? But I'm interested that Bernice says ditto. Is it just like, she just knows ditto? That can't be a Spanish thing. Ditto.
No, it's Spanish.
Spanglish. Rose says, brilliant, Migdalia. This is a creed that enables so much to come into your life. I'm with you, Bernice. Ditto that. No more selfishness. Or no more thinking that taking time for yourself is selfish, right? There we go. Awesome. So I will make you share these. Anybody need more time? So the fireplace is not working, right? It's fall apart.
No, it's fine. It's burning.
Oh, it is? Okay. Jeremy's had one too many parties in the,
Too many 20-foot fires.
what do we call that thing again? Chimenea. Okay, we're almost ready for break. Oh, go ahead. All right. So knowing this, and Migdalia has given us already a great stepping stone with her things. Write 1, 2, or 3 things that you're prepared to release and let go of in 2020. And I shared on a Facebook Live, but hopefully it'll be posted on the page, just to give you an idea. When I first did this experience back several years ago, and probably still today, actually, I'll let you know what I wrote down in a second, but I very vividly remember releasing fear, lack, and powerlessness. It just came to me based on what I wanted to let go of, what my challenges were, what my celebrations were. It was very clear to me that to move into this new place in this upcoming year, those were the things I needed to release. So just to give you an example, I did this whole thing before you guys came, and for sometimes it's funny when you journal something, you look back on it, you don't remember writing it. Does that happen to you?
Yes.
Okay, so here we go. What was I going to release? So I put release what is in the way of my radiant intentions that we all just wrote down, right? Our intentions. Release resentment, release fear, and I put fear of judgment, of loneliness, because all my kids are going away, of not being good enough. And then I put release judgment from others. So I don't know that others are judging me, but I feel they are judging me, and I want to let go of that concern that others are judging me, because my kids are going off to boarding school, and you would not believe the amount of judgment I feel over that. And love to share more about that, because the kids are like thriving. They're going to thrive there, but it's scary, and it also feels like a lot of people think that that's crazy. There's a little bit of craziness in it, but anyway, longer conversation. So that's what I'm releasing: resentment, fear, and judgment from others of me. So other judgment, I made that a hyphen, other judgment. Put it down, let it go. Don't process it, don't work it out, just leave it behind. So we're going to go, I'm going to step over here so I can see me. We're going to go to break. And for all of the people who are virtual, I suggest you do the same thing. Go have a snack, go have a bio break, a body break, and also do the same thing that I'm going to share to the people in our room. And Stacy, you can, I think I texted you earlier, I'm not sure what you're planning for you and Wanda, but something ceremonial here as well. So I want you to take a new page on your journal that you can rip out, and you're going to write on there 1, 2, or 3 things that you're releasing all on one page. Fear, lack, scarcity, other judgment, feeling selfish when you're spending time on your own, loneliness, boredom, powerlessness, whatever it is. Write them on that piece of paper. We're going to go to break, and we're going to have some more refreshments and a body break. And then I'm going to play some music so that everybody can listen to some music, and Stacy can tell me whether I need to mute my room or not. And there's a fire burning outside that you are going to, on your own time, you're going to go out there, you're going to take as much time as you want, you're going to look at the stars if we can see them, I hope we can, we should be able to see a bit of a moon as well, and take as much time as you want. If you want to go out together, if you want to go out individually, it's entirely up to you. If you want to go out and pray, if you want to go out and sing, if you want to go out and scream, it's whatever you want to do. I had thought about videotaping, but there's no cameras out there. I actually thought it would be a beautiful memory to just take the video and cut the audio and set it to the music, but I didn't get coordinated enough to do it. So we're just on our own out there. Just do what you need to do. And you're going to put those things in the fire, not process. You don't have to work them out. You don't have to figure out anything else. You just release them and let them go, because we are not taking them into the new year. Any questions?
Nope, like that. Yeah.
Any questions? Any questions? Oh, there's the chat. Hold on. Let's see what the chat says. Hold on. Yeah, absolutely. They're going to go take a little break. Got it. Yeah, so Miguel is suggesting for the virtual people that you record the burning of your paper and don't burn down your house, or what you do with your paper. Ultimately, if you record it or share it or take a picture of yourself getting rid of it, we would love to celebrate that with you for sure. Absolutely. So go ahead, go help yourself to refreshments, have a body break. There's a bathroom in the foyer. There's also a closet, so if you end up in the closet, go to the bathroom. And there's a bathroom down this hallway as well, and to the first door on the left. So help yourself, please. Hey Siri, play Christmas music.
This is so beautiful.
Yeah.
So
Isn't it gorgeous? It comes around like once a year.
this one here.
Yeah, and it's fully blue.
I need to take a page that I can get
All
out.
right, I want a real big one now.
Oh, yes. I just miss you.
I miss you too.
Have you been traveling a lot?
Oh my gosh, I have changed my house, moved. I have changed jobs. I have been leader of Girl Scouts for my girls. I've been it's just been crazy. It's been crazy.
How old is your little?
She started, my little one's 2. My big one started kindergarten, stuff like that going on this year. It's just been a lot. It's been a whole
Well,
lot.
yes. That's so cool.
What about you?
Well, similar things like you would do. I don't even know that.
So first, I did say. Yeah, when you have brother and sister, same thing. I did that for a while. Right. So did they. Saw her, I saw her Facebook post. Oh, nice. I need to learn to say no. But at the same time, I can say yes. No. Yes. Exactly. That's why she Right, right. So, yeah.
Hey Siri, volume 30%.
These are really big.
Hey Siri, next song.
Yeah, just regular water.
So who plays piano?
I have 3 kids.
They all play? Oh wow. Who plays the most?
They're all like about the same age.
Yeah.
13, 13, and 15. So they've just been in lessons together the whole
So you're
time.
twins?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I played for 9 years, and they've been playing. They've probably been playing for 7 years.
And where are they going to boarding school?
In Ontario,
Okay.
Canada.
What what made you decide to do that? Or did they decide they wanted?
Yeah, my boy started the conversation because he wanted to Canadian experience. We're Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
And after that conversation started, we realized he needed something more than he was getting at his current school.
Where were they?
They're at Bay Area Christian.
Okay.
And it's an area where I grew up.
Uh-huh.
It's a school that I didn't go to this school, but it's a well-known school in the area. And they focus on the whole child, so they do outdoor education every single day. They're exploring snow, rain, shine. They focus on basically positive psychology and values-based learning, just kind of looking at where their personal genius is. And he really needed that area, he's got so much potential, but in a real structured system, he just wasn't able to really blossom.
Right. So is the school year like the school year here?
It is. It starts Labor Day weekend, so a bit later, and it finishes at the end of June. Yeah, it's very similar.
So will you see them frequently, or
Yeah, every month.
that'll be good? They'll
Yeah.
enjoy that.
He loves it.
So have they gone yet?
He's up there now.
Okay, this is your what age?
He's 15 in grade 9.
Okay, and then you're sending the other two?
They'll go next year. Yeah. They'll be 14. I was up meeting with his teachers last week.
When do they turn 14?
They turned 14 in April.
Okay. Mine turns 14 in January.
About the same. Grade 8? Yeah. Yeah, so the teachers in my interviews with them, they know him like better than I do in academics. Like they know what he wants, what he doesn't want, how, where he thrives, where he doesn't. Like every single one of his teachers, I was shocked at how well they knew him. This is amazing.
Do you know Gracie Ann? Yeah.
I do.
Do you know Gracie Ann? She actually, she's a cheerleader over there. We used to go over there.
Oh.
How to know her.
Gracie Ann.
Gracie Ann.
What grade? Yeah.
She's a senior this year. Yours was he's a junior this year? Or is he
He's a freshman.
Oh, the 15-year-old?
Yeah.
So he just turned 15.
September. Yeah.
Is this him?
Alright. I have bad news for your children here.
Oh,
Dad lives with fire friend's house.
hi, that's okay.
He's so sick. He said it was crying this way.
Yeah.
How are you?
Miss Linda. You know Anita.
Yep. I do. No, don't get up.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
So currently he's going there, or is he going to the Bay Area right now?
Currently, my boy's at Lakeville. He's at that school.
The Bay Area or
The other one.
the other? Okay.
Yeah.
So this one's where, Bay Area?
So my twin girls.
Okay, so that's fine.
Yeah. So my twin girls are home. Right, they're home this year, and they start in September at that school. And my boy left in September. Right, his birthday's September. He's like the oldest in his grade because he missed the October deadline, right? So he's 15, but in grade 9.
Okay. That's kind of cool.
What school do your boys go to?
One goes to Bayside Intermediate, and the other one goes to Prairie. The older one is he likes smaller classroom settings. He's not into the big schools. He tried it. He just doesn't do real well. I told him, I said, there's a lot of cliques in schools and stuff. He shouldn't do well with that. I told him, I said, as you get older and you get to college and you start paying to go to school, it gets easier, because they're actually wanting to be there. It's not that they have to be there kind of thing.
Right.
So it's a little bit different. So you don't have that kind of cliquish stuff like so.
Right. Because they start to figure out what they like.
Right.
And then they want to be there because they want to learn.
Right.
And your boys have that music on the side. So,
Who do they play? Do they play locally?
I'm sorry?
Do they play locally?
They had some gigs like there's a place called Southern Comfort Kitchen. It's over in Deer Park. They played there. It's a huge restaurant venue.
Oh, nice.
And they played there a few times. They played at Scout Bar over off of 270. Yeah, it's more of a rock place venue. It's not like really, they play at smaller venues and stuff like around town, but nothing like, they play in nursing homes sometimes. They would just do like the give back kind of thing. We've done benefit. We did a benefit just like recently for the Melda and all the hurricane victims from Harvey and Melda and all that. We did that. The suicide prevention. We just do different like things like that, just to kind of get them out there more, and yeah. That's good for them too. Oh yeah, we try to do those a lot.
Did everybody have a chance to burn what they were releasing?
I did.
Yes.
I did a little dance around the fire.
Yeah. Oh, I wish I had that on tape. Let it go.
That felt good.
Here we go. All right, coming back.
And they love it like on Halloween, like if you go there Halloween because they love passion.
Come on back down. Hey, Mom, so did you burn your things?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, good.
Oh, everybody burned it.
I burned.
Oh, let me burn mine. Sorry.
I couldn't wait to burn it.
Everybody make sure.
Because I was screaming.
Okay, you don't scream.
What made you decide to start?
20 years of working in the office and seeing that
Good question.
15 minutes in the office does not help somebody. It doesn't do it. It just doesn't do it.
Yeah.
And
Deeper than that.
It's deeper than that. The longer the conversations in the office, my visits in the office now are an hour, but even in an hour, you only just barely get into what's really wrong. And it was like an assembly line of people with similar deeper issues who would come in and break into tears. It's standard in my office. Break into tears.
I've done that a million
They
times.
must. It's just a standard. And then say, "Am I the only one going through this stuff?" Over and over and over and over. And I wanted to like take them back out to the waiting room and go,
Here's some more people.
guys, you're not
Everybody
alone.
come in.
You're not alone. Everybody come in. We're all talking about the same thing. I mean, ultimately similar, right?
I cried in my hand. I teared up with my paper.
Yes.
Oh, I had the lump right here.
Really, really good. I had a meditation. Siri, stop. Hey, Siri, stop. All right, here we go. We're coming back. Stacy, are you with us?
She said,
Stacy, are you with us? Cool, awesome. Thank you. Mick Daly says she fed hers to her dog.
yeah.
That's funny. So, Stacy, will you come on and let us know what you did with the things you were releasing? How did you process that?
How did we release it?
Yeah.
Is that what you're,
Yeah.
That's to be continued. We're going to take it inside and burn it, but we didn't do it yet. But we will.
Yeah, okay, great. The first time we did this exercise in the Empowered Women's Circle, I took everything home from our location in a sealed envelope, and I did the burning on video for everybody. So I'm glad you guys got to do it on your own. But we were just talking about, yeah, great, Rose shredded hers. Yeah, you'll never get those back. They're gone. They're gone for good. We were just talking about the emotion around this, and we're sort of, we're in a light environment right now, so, it hasn't necessarily sunk in for everybody. But when you get home, when you're quiet, when you're looking at your journal, if you want to do it again, or you feel like you can really drop into the moment when you put that thing up in flames, it's really important to let that go into your cells, into every cell, not just your brain, not just your heart, like every cell of your body. It's gone. I am not taking that into 2020. I'm releasing my fear. I'm releasing my fear of other judgment of me. I'm releasing my resentment. I'm releasing resentment. It's gone. Not taking it into the new year. And we can continue to remind each other and remind ourselves of what we released. So I know you burnt that page, but make sure you know this is what I let go, because we'll be reminding each other of that. And
I think it's Stacy.
I think she's going to tell me I'm not recording them.
I'm going to tell you what?
I'm not recording?
No, you weren't recording. No, what I was going to say is when I had done it last year when we went through this exercise, it really is ceremonial to release it and to, in whatever fashion you do it, whether it's burning, but that really does affect you physiologically and deep into your cells. And I was really surprised and relieved and really refreshed by allowing the release. So I highly recommend it.
Thank you for that. Yeah. So who had a powerful moment? Will you share?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this last year, and for those of y'all that know me, my kids are my life, as y'all's kids are your life. And I made a lot of changes this past year so that I could focus on my children more, or at least I thought that I'd have more time to focus on them. So I switched my job, and we moved about 4 months ago to a little 2-acre farm here in Friendswood. So now my kids have time to be outside, and they're just thriving with it. They're not inside anymore. They're climbing trees. They're feeding their chickens. They're loving life and really experiencing it. And that's fantastic to see that. With my job, on the other hand, making that change, although I feel I'm making even a higher impact in patients' lives than I did at my last job, which things came unbelievably fantastic and super blessed to do that. It's also by far, hands down, the most challenging job I've ever had, changing medicine the way it's been practiced for the last 65 years. And it's just uber difficult. And so having the balance, I continuously struggle no matter what I do. So what I threw away out there and I kind of cried about is that I have to work regardless. I can't let go of that mom guilt that I can't be there with them every day. And that's okay. And I need to be okay with that. And so I let it go. That it is okay. And they're going to thrive and they're going to see a super strong mom, and hopefully they'll be the same one day.
So you released the guilt. You released the guilt. It's gone. And what I see out of that is that you bring to them someone who's not guilty, but is actually doing what you need to do to support them and role modeling for them a mom who's powerfully working outside the home, who's changing medicine, thank goodness for that, and making a massive contribution in the world, and still prioritizing them because they're still the priority, and not making decisions around guilt, making decisions around how can I powerfully show up for these kids so that they see who I am over here and who I am over here, and thrive because they're watching that.
Exactly.
And when you imagine what you want for Lily, and I can't remember your other name. Eden. When you have another one.
That's it. Oh no, we're done.
Okay.
I want to be outnumbered.
When you imagine, because I'm curious actually, and I always love asking questions because I'm really actually deeply curious. When you imagine what you want for them, what do you want for them?
I really want my children to be so empowered they don't need anybody. Then I want them to be so empowered that they can thrive on their own, be on their own, be happy women, be successful women, whatever success looks like to them, and truly be happy, healthy, and safe. That's it. That's all I want. And I want them to have that strength to stand on their own.
And if they find a passionate type of work, or if they don't, but if they find a passionate type of work and they're committed to hours and energy at work that they love and that's making a difference in the world, if you can look at what you want them to do. You don't want them to feel guilty in that.
Right.
Right? And then you're going to role model that for them. Yeah, I've been there. I know. It's so powerful.
We
to let
also
go of guilt.
teaching them coping skills. I find out this not long ago.
Oh,
My
yeah.
28 years old told me, they say, Mom, as you will be home all the time, you will make everything easy for me. Seeing me, you're struggling, going to places and make sure that you were there for everybody and managing your time, it teach me that I can do it too.
That is true.
You know, because you're teaching them at the same time. If you're struggling because you feel you're not with them all the time, but they're also coping how to deal with the stuff by themselves. Yeah.
And it's possible to release that guilt.
Oh, yes.
Like I can almost feel the lightness in it. Did you feel that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, mom guilt's tough.
Sometimes I wish I was away more because I don't work. So, you know, I'm there all the time. I'm kind of like, I was away more, they could probably do more on their own. So sometimes I feel like I'm an
Yeah. So release the guilt over that.
Right, either way. It's
Yeah.
mom guilt.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for sharing. That's good. We'll remind each other of these things. Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to go back to share and keep moving. So we released it once and for all. So just take a breath and just imagine what you put in the fire. It's gone. It's gone. And we'll just continually, powerfully let that go. So now that you've released it, what will you commit to? And again, we're not visioning 2020, but what are you going to commit to in 2020? I commit to showing up powerfully and present for my children. I commit to allowing them to see me work. I commit to balancing and creating synergy and role modeling what it means to be a working woman in the world. I commit to having faith that there's a path forward, that there's a destiny, that there's a reason that I'm going through this. I commit to, and what will you embrace as your new way of being? I'm going to embrace confidence. I'm going to embrace strength. I'm going to embrace my femininity. I'm going to embrace my power. I'm going to embrace abundance. I'm going to embrace gratitude. My worth. I'm going to embrace my worth. And how will you show up? Because that's what really matters. All of the burning, all of the deep work that you do is the groundwork. We're planting the soil. We're using what we had challenging for us in 2019, and we're using it. We're mulching it all up, making compost for the soil. Because ultimately, what matters is how we show up. What are we going to commit to? What are we going to embrace as our new way of being? And how are we going to show up? I'd love to take a virtual share if somebody puts in the chat that they're willing to do so. And while we're waiting to see if that happens, you guys can be thinking about whether you're willing to share or not. I'll share. I said, I commit to abundance, faith, love, confidence, and power. And honestly, it sounds like I spent a lot of time on that, but I didn't. Just bringing from 2019 what I used to make decisions to experience the most meaningful things, I realized those were the things I need to commit to. I embrace my worth, a positive mindset, and we're going to hear more about that in the Empowered Women Circle, a growth, positive growth mindset, a deep knowing of a future impact. So just knowing that the seeds we're planting now are actually a part of a bigger plan. I embrace influence and limitless potential. Because what is possible for us is not even imaginable for us right now. And how will I show up? Radiantly confident, loving, self-compassionate, powerfully organized, fiercely standing for balance, worth, prosperity, and teamwork.
Wow.
I know. And honestly,
There it is.
So we don't have any,
like you.
we don't have any virtual shares coming in the chat, but I'm still watching. Anybody here willing to say what they're committing to? And I think if we have like 1 or 2 people willing to put voice to that, and then I'm just going to have you turn to a neighbor and put voice to it. It has to come out of your mouth at some point tonight. You know, big room, little room, whisper, doesn't matter. But we're going to commit to, what I commit to is to show up in my power. What I commit to is to be a fully present, confident role model for my kids. What I commit to. Anybody willing to share? Yeah, Yolanda, go for it.
To let my faith guide me.
That was the first one.
So my second one is don't chase happiness.
Right.
My third one is just be happy.
Be happy. Don't chase happiness. Be happy.
Be happy.
It's now.
You make your own.
It's now. Yeah. Another little snippet I put on my mirror recently was you're living your destiny now. Today. You're living your destiny today. And I have to remind myself every day.
Yes, well, with your lead there, I put, the joy of the Lord is my strength. That it's my center. It lets me go of fears when I have all the trust in Him. So what am I going to embrace? I'm going to embrace every day with passion and love. Acknowledge and be aware of the gifts that we have been given and put them to action.
Yeah. Yeah, and so that's the next question that I was going to ask, which is part of this. How do you show up? This is what you're committing to and embracing. How do you show up? How do you show up in that? What does that look like? I'm not chasing happiness. I'm happy right now. What does that translate to on a day-to-day basis?
For me, well, when you identify the gifts that you have been given, the areas where your strength,
your specific personal gifts,
my specific personal gifts, then you not bury them. Put them to action. What are you good at? Show the world. Share.
Use them in the right purpose, in the right role.
Right.
So don't dim down.
No.
Share. Just be willing to say, I'm good at this. Yes. Not everybody is.
Yes.
It comes so naturally to me that I don't even know I'm doing it. And I'm just going to
we all have gifts,
do it.
Different gifts, but we all have.
Reminds me of the Marianne Williamson poem that I shared recently, which is who are we? We're not afraid of our weaknesses. You're gonna have to have somebody look it up. But we're most afraid of our light. What
are we showing?
We're most afraid of being bright and shiny and radiant, and that's what makes us most afraid, is that we have these gifts that we are holding back for one reason or another. We're holding ourselves back.
It's like almost like a fear of success, if I really do what I say that I'm going to do, it's just very different from what you are, because then you have other commitment. If it is professional, is a new challenge, a new role, more money, or if it is changing your life, then you actually have to do what you are not doing, and it means a lot of work and a lot of stepping into something new. And
it's unknown in a lot of situations. And I think we live in a world where there's a lot of, there seems to be a lot of it's inside of us most likely, but there seems to be a lot of fear of being big and bright and shiny and overly confident. There's a judged, oh, Really? You're that good at that?
Yeah.
Okay. Really? Show me.
Mm-hmm.
Are you uncomfortable in that chair?
No, it's I'm having major neck issues. There's nothing.
Is there something I can do for you?
No.
Want to lay flat on
Yeah.
the ground?
No, nothing works. I'm seeing my surgeon next week.
Okay. Okay. Let me know.
No, it
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna just
Okay.
I move a lot to
Okay.
get comfortable.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I get it. So show up in your brilliance. Don't dim down. Don't be afraid to be who you are, gifted and talented, and who you were sent here to be. Right? I love it. I love it. So we don't have anything in the chat, so nobody else is wanting any airtime. Malin, I know you probably have lots to say. And lots of inspiration for us if you're there. You guys know I only call out people I feel comfortable calling out. Right? Malin's probably doing some like homework assignment or something. She's always multitasking. She's a busy lady. Anything to share, Stacy?
Just in regards to what's up for 2020 and committing to, I commit to being and doing less. So I commit to more being, which means being present in the moment instead of so busy doing that you miss the beingness of the moment. So that's what I'm committing to.
More being, less doing. I like that. I'll own that one too. So as Claire Zammit says, make becoming, see if I can move this, make becoming the woman you were meant to be the organizing principle of your life. That's nice, right? My Canadian A.
It's nice. What's that?
That's me and Sedona.
Cool.
Oh, Malin says, I'm holding on to this a little longer. I need more processing time. Remember? Oh, and Bernice says, I commit to not being afraid to do things because fear is holding me back. That's great. And Malin, don't hang on too long, sweetie, because it's not about processing. You just release it. Release those things you're not taking into 2020. And if you want to chat personally, happy to do that sometime. So I'm transitioning now. I want to show you something real quick, and I know we only have 5 minutes, and I want to hold to that time, and then I want to give you a gift, and then you can mingle, or I know some of you have to get on your way. So very quick, I want to share with you Reclaim Your Life. And before I do that, Anita has taken Reclaim Your Life as a course. Do you remember, and do you mind sharing some of the highlights from that?
Oh my gosh, I still use a lot of those strategies every day. And thinking about things that we've talked about tonight, I've used the wellness wheel all the time as a growth thing. Like if I'm in a situation, I'm like, how is the situation affecting me in this section of the growth wheel or that section of the growth wheel? So that's been impactful. The gratitude, I still do that daily. That was very impactful. Peeling away the layers to find out what was really causing some issues in my life. That was life-changing. My family can
Amen
say,
to that.
yeah. So it's probably the best gift I've ever given myself.
Oh,
And it's the best
neat.
gift that I think has been with my family as far as probably changing personality to a certain extent.
You were
I
wonderful
think-
before and wonderful after.
Well, thank
I'm
you.
just saying. But is she really for herself? Just because we're very close, obviously. Just to see herself grow through the whole thing was so beautiful.
Amazing.
And just be true to herself and really uncover and understand you and yourself more was really beautiful to see.
Thank you. Thank you. It's nice, and it's nice the pieces that you mentioned that you still remember and you still use them. That's reassuring for me. I normally would have reached out to tell Anita that I was going to ask her, but she didn't know I was doing this, and so I'm really really happy to hear that you've carried those threads through. And so the Reclaim Your Life is starting in February. It's starting February 5th. It's Wednesdays. I'm doing it differently than I did with Anita. I'm doing it on Wednesdays, 5 Wednesdays for 90 minutes. You don't have to be there because they're recorded. And Robin just came through a workshop. I didn't warn you either, but you came through a workshop with me where we did a similar format.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share about the format? Anything that you...
I mean, for me, it worked great. I mean, it was in my schedule. I knew that's where I was supposed to be. And so any appointments or anything I had, I mean, everything's right there in front of you. So you know to schedule if it's important, and it was important to me. Not saying it's not to others because they have other jobs and things that go on, but it was very easy to do.
Yeah. And did you like being with other people?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Then I walk in here and I'm like, hey, I know you. But I don't.
Oh, is that rating online?
Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love it. I love it. Yeah, and Robin came every single week. So event special, I offered this to the people that were in Robin's program for $97, and I'm doing it again. And Migdalia's going to have to help me on the chat. We're going to send you an email so that you know how to look at this, how to look at the modules, and how to decide if you want the $97, but then it's going away because it's not really the price I wanted to offer it for. It will be offered early bird to diamonds for $147, early bird for $197. It retails $297, and I know it was part of a program Anita paid well more than that for. And so it's a special because you guys are here, and I know that what we've done tonight will translate into this program in really incredible ways. Awesome. Yay. And all recorded and all available at your convenience. Okay, perfect. Thank you, thank you. And I don't want to get into great, oh, there it is. Migdalia helps me out. Expires December 6th at midnight. There's a special link I need to send you. Diamond membership, and I know most of you are. We're going to close that so that I can focus on who of you are diamonds. I'm going to stop taking people into the diamond membership until the spring so that I can really make sure, because we do all of this and this is different, but in the diamond membership there's very exclusive things that we do, and I want to give a lot of time and effort and energy to that. So we're going to stop bringing diamond members in for a short time, and then we'll open it again when we're ready, when I feel like I've refocused on you guys. So I wanted you guys to know that, but you'll see all of that coming, and I'm going to flip through this. These are the modules: Rediscover You, Renew You, Anew You. We're going to do a conversation cafe and then a blueprint. And anybody who, Laura, purchases, I'm going to do 30 minutes before the workshop starts so we can kind of take off of what we did today and make sure that you're using it. You guys have heard my heart on this. It's not about what you learn, it's about what you can implement into your life with your family. And your work and everything, your health and your confidence, and that's what matters to me most. So let's go through that real quick. Don't worry about that link, it's ridiculous. You guys are all part of ID Life, you all know about ID Life, but just so you're really aware, what you purchase through ID Life, no matter who you purchase from, helps our circle. So if you have your own website and you purchase from there, it helps our circle. And Carolina, like every cent and more than every cent, she probably matches dollar for dollar every cent from her own pocket, goes to help her causes in Honduras. So there's a huge heart behind any ID Life purchases that are coming toward the circle. So just know that this is not so we can, we haven't taken a vacation on this. Like we're investing deeply in all of this work. All right, I'm holding for you to really, truly have been liberated from the things that you released tonight, and that you have committed to embracing a new way of being and a new way of showing up that feels aligned and authentic and confident and strong and powerful, and that together in 2019 we can do life. I'm excited about that. and excited about that with all of our virtual peeps.
Look at
They're
Stacy.
laughing. They're laughing over there.
It's laughing with us, I thought.
I'm not
I
sure,
don't know, I think they're having a little party over there.
I'm not sure what she's laughing at. But Malin, Denise, Natalia, Stacy, Wanda, we love you.
2020 is what we're laughing at.
2019.
January 8th, 2019.
Oh,
yeah.
gee, that really feels deflating. That should say 2020. The January 8th is right, but 2020, Bernice is clapping. Yay! Yay! Okay, so January 8th, 2020, you guys can RSVP anytime so that I know you're coming, because I love to get the RSVPs. I love to know you're coming. And that is it. Let your light shine until we meet again. And I only went 5 minutes over, and I normally don't go over, so I apologize for the extra 5 minutes. Let's stop the share. Let's say goodbye to our virtual friends.
Bye, Stacy.
Bye.
Let me get Bye, Bernice. Bye, Valen. Bye,
Merry
Nicole.
Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. See you guys later.
2020.
You